Hello friends, Icarus and I welcome you back to our steel mill. As always, if you liked the video today, then please like the video. And I have a big thank you to say to the comments section for pointing out that we can actually double this up, in fact triple this up, because these things consume at 1/3 the speed that I have designed for. So we can have 3 times as many smelters, which is not going to fit in a nice neat row. Oh no, everyone's going to lose their mines. Okay, well we can fill in the river later. You know, let's just double our production for now rather than tripling it. So this is actually not a 4 per second. This is now an 8 per second. Not too shabby, if I do say so myself. Okay, I've also decided to stamp down another gear tower because we're going to need a hell of a lot of these things going forward. Remember that not only do the machines require gears, but these things require gears, the electric motors. And electric motors are probably the 2nd or 3rd most consumed resource in this game, after like iron plates and actual magnetic coils. Because you need these to make the more advanced versions of themselves. So it goes like, I think it's magnetic coil, then electric motor, and then it is, the design of this is kind of insane. Then it is this one here, the electromagnetic turbine, and then it is the supermagnetic ring. And you use these, all 3 of them, in very large quantities for all sorts of different machines. So it's kind of one of the things where you always want to be producing as many of them as you possibly can. So I think turning a lot of our iron plates into gears is good, because those gears will eventually become much more useful machines. Alright, but now it's time to start working out how we're going to handle all of our oil processing. And I think the first step on that is going to be to put all the oil onto a network, right? Onto the network, rather. In order to do that, we're going to put down these things. We're going to put down a bit of a buffer storage in front of each one. Lovely. And then we're going to run them into each other. And you know what? We've got this tower right here. We might as well use it. We're going to do it like that. And yeah, that one hasn't got any space, so we'll just run some oil into it. I'm not running these into each other because then only this one will be used. I want them both to be used in equal amounts. You can actually deplete oil reserves in Dyson Sphere program now. They used to be infinite, they are no longer. Just a word to the unwise. That is something to be aware of. Okay, lovely. We are now producing oil. It is getting put on the network. That's awesome. Let's go ahead and find some more oil seeps. Oh, there's another one right over there. We're gonna need a whole lot of this stuff. I think just to conserve tower usage, what I'm gonna do here is run these into towers that already have other things going on. Because you use a lot of oil at the beginning when you start refining it, and then you really don't use very much for quite a while, and then you use a whole lot more a whole lot later. So in my experience, it's not really worth giving this its own tower. I think in this case we just kind of wanna build this forward. Also, there was some concern expressed about whether or not I had played through this before, and I'll tell you I haven't. All I have done is work out when the enemies spawn. I have not actually fought them yet, so I don't know anything about the defensives, I don't know anything about that. That's all going to be learnt for the very first time with you guys on camera. We might even stream that one, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Oh, here's another oil seep. Yeah, because the towers are cheap. The towers are expensive. Yellow belts are very cheap, so I think I'm just going to spend some yellow belt and run these things across to these other towers. And oh my god, I'm actually out of power. I never thought the day would come. I need to get back there and get my my fuel rods. Oh, we are starting to run low. I had planned that it would give us the first sort of 6 hours of gameplay without too much trouble, but I don't even know if we're going to make it to that. Uh-oh. That's not good. Okay, whew, we got over here. I can store 4 of these at a time. Let's store 4 of them at a time. Oh, and we have research solar power. That's going to be pretty huge. Okay, with 4 oil seeps, each producing about 3 per second. We're now doing 12 per second, which means we can consume 12 per second, and I think it's time we start doing that. So in order to do the oil stuff, we're going to want a very large, flat piece of land, and this is what I had my eye on for just that purpose. There's also some fairly large patches in the darkness over here. But man, it is dark down there, and I'd rather you guys can actually see this. So I think this piece of land right over there is going to be the winner. Now, I hear you asking, Large Unemployed, why aren't you working on blue science yet? And I'll tell you, it's because it's not really necessary at this point. We are... By the time we make blue science, you know, we're going to consume it so quickly it doesn't really matter. We're like almost done with the blue sciences. There's maybe 700 left. So we're going to want to make the red sciences so that because by the time we need to use the blue science in the amount it would require, that would require a whole build, we're going to already be on the red ones. So I'm not prioritizing that just yet. I'm prioritizing getting red science built, which requires oil. So let's use our long distance power poles, which do themselves consume power, ironically enough, to move across the landscape in a far greater pace. Now you can save a bit of power by sort of putting down a long distance power pole, putting down a regular power pole, putting down a long distance power pole. It is a completely valid thing to do. I'm just lazy, to be completely honest. Alright, so we need to produce several hundred red science in order to really get red science off the ground, and I'll show you why. We need to make something called X-ray cracking, which is this science over here. It requires 400 energy matrices. Energy matrices, these things over here, are made using energetic graphite, which we currently smelt, and hydrogen, which we need to get by cracking oil. We use the plasma extract refining tech, which we've already got, to turn 2 crude oil in 4 seconds into 1 hydrogen, meaning that every 1 second we use half a crude oil, meaning that the 12 oil per second we're producing can produce us 24, it can run 24 machines running this recipe, basically, fairly comfortably. So let's go ahead and set that up. Now I have oil in this game is a pain in the head. It's a real headache, I'll be honest with you. So I have gone ahead and set this up already from my previous series, and I highly recommend that you use this. Basic oil refining. You want to grab the I think it's X-ray cracking full one first. Yep, no, we want to just do regular X-ray cracking, so sorry. This one over here. It's not going to work perfectly right at the start. Don't panic, okay? It will work later. I just want to make sure, what's our best... We should actually do it this way so we can run parallel, yeah. We want to do it like this, I think. We'll start down here, and we'll start laying these on top of each other. So this is a tileable blueprint, and I'll explain what it does in a second. But if you've watched my previous series, you will understand how this works, and that should be really cool for you. Alright, so we're going to need a lot of belts and a whole lot of machines to make this work. Believe you me, in fact, we are not going to have enough belts to do this, but that's okay. It's part of the challenge. Okay, I'm going to let some of this build, and I'll be right back. Okay, there we go. We have laid down a fairly considerable number of these plants over here, and I'm going to explain to you what they do shortly. So, like I said, 1 belt of 6 per second can support 12 of these machines doing that initial research, and that's what the first ones are doing. Before I explain how that works, let's go ahead and pull in some oil. We're going to need a whole bunch of it. And we're going to be mirroring this design on the other side at a later point as well. That's why it's designed in this shape. That seemed a little strange. That should answer that question for you. Okay, lovely. So the oil is coming in at its own pace. It will come in when it does. All right, and this is how this is going to work. So these machines here are going to take the oil off this line, and it's all the ones along the bottom are going to do the same thing. And they're going to produce 1 refined oil and 2 hydrogen, I do believe. I believe that's the output, right? Let's just make sure of it. So you're going to produce 2 refined oil and 1 hydrogen. It's the other way around. My mistake. That refined oil is going to be put out using a filter onto this line. A later research, the one we're working towards over here, X-ray cracking. What this does is consume refined oil and hydrogen to make hydrogen and energetic graphite. And if you remember, that's all you need in order to make the red sciences, these guys over here. So what that basically means is we want to then take the refined oil that this gives us and put it back into these 2 machines. It just so happens that the game is designed in such a way that you have the exact perfect ratio for one of these machines to run 2 of the other ones, doing X-ray cracking. We output the oil here, it goes in there, and it gets turned back into hydrogen and energetic graphite. Similarly, the hydrogen is output on here, put onto this belt where it's fed back into the machines to be turned into yet more hydrogen, which is then output onto this belt. It's then put into the sorter, which checks, is there any space on this line? If there is, it puts the hydrogen on this line, which runs back and puts it back into the system. We feed it back into itself. If this backs up, then the excess is put out onto this system, which is then fed into the sorter, which does the same check, puts it onto the next line, and slowly but surely, you begin to daisy chain your way down all the way to the end of the line, And once you've fully saturated the belt, then you get hydrogen out. Now, at the beginning, because we don't have access to X-ray cracking, we're going to build up refined oil without any way to dispose of it. So what I'm going to do for now is just put it in this thing over here. We're going to put it in this machine. We're just going to store it. We're probably going to build up about 3,000 before we actually produce any hydrogen we can use, and that's okay. So while we wait for these machines to begin their backup procedure, and as you can see, this one's already going to start backing up. I think it'll back up to 20 in here. And then we're going to have to come by ourselves and just manually remove it and put it in the tower until such time as it's clear. You could build a dedicated little starter build that just makes hydrogen, but I'm not too phased about doing that. Okay, then at the end of the line over here, we know we're eventually going to be getting out hydrogen and energetic graphite, so why don't we set up our science build up on this side where it's relatively close to the output. So we're going to put down our tower, which is going to accept the hydrogen and energetic graphite. And I think I like the idea of putting it like over here, so we have space for a bit of storage. If I remember correctly, the energetic graphite ends up getting dumped on the side. Yes, it does. These machines will output it to this belt, which will then be fed over here. So I think what we're going to want to do is put this through like a storage lot first. So let's do it like this. We'll do a double storage, double storage, double storage. And we're going to feed the energetic graphite in here like this. And then we'll bring it out of there on this side. I think I'm happy with that idea. Yeah, and then we'll inevitably end up mirroring this somewhere else. No, we should do it in line with this belt. Otherwise, it's gonna mess up all my mirroring later. So instead, let's put it over here. Yeah, let's do it like this. Okay, and double up these belts. We're going to move the energetic graphite over here, and we're going to bring it out over here. And then we're going to put another tower down here, which will accept it for who it is as a person. Perfect, beautiful, poetic. Alright, then we're going to want to feed it in. This is, of course, future-proofing. Again, if you would like to understand this better, please go watch my original series on Dyson Sphere Program. I explain it all there. This is meant to be a very fast-paced series where we get down to the combat. I really don't want to be mired in the early game stuff that I've done before. That series is really good too, by the way. It's just like a vanilla playthrough of the game, and I think it's one of my better ones. A lot of people really liked it, so if that's your speed, then go check it out. Okay, right away, we're going to mirror this over here. Okay, nice. We have research red science, which is awesome, which means we can actually now just go ahead and set that up while we're waiting for the other things to back up. And because we've got the towers, it's nice and modular, so we don't have to worry about things getting in the way of themselves. So you're going to take this, you're going to take hydrogen. We're going to be supplying both of those as much as we can. The hydrogen's going to need to go into storage as well, so let's set that up. Right over here, I think. And we'll feed the tanks into each other. Because they work like that, it's pretty cool. And then that will come forward and feed into here. And I'm putting down this much storage because we kind of want this thing to be constantly running. We don't need oil for anything else, really, other than this. So that's sort of what we wanted to do for us. Alright, and you're going to have an input on there. Because we're going to build a mirror copy of this on that side at some point as well. Probably after we've cracked X-ray cracking, so I don't have to set up the recipes twice. That's a little bit of laziness on my part. Alright, cool. So that's going to produce hydrogen for us eventually. As you can see, there is now hydrogen on the belt. What we need to do is pick up the refined oil from each of these machines. And we're already full up because it doesn't stack very well. Perfect. That was 280. We want to pick all of the refined oil up so that these machines can start building up a backlog on their belts. And eventually, once this belt is backed up, it will then output it down the line into this machine. And we're going to have to do this a few times before this works, unfortunately. Also, we have this solar panel. Why don't we just stick it down over there? Doing nothing in our pocket, it can do a bit of power over there. Perfect. Okay, cool. So that's going to be supplying our energetic graphite and our hydrogen eventually. Why don't we put down a consumer of such? And I think that's going to be where we build our science. Will be like, we can do it like, honestly, we could just do it like right over here. I don't think it hurts. I am going to put down a separate tower for this because in case I produce energetic graphite or hydrogen somewhere else, I want it to come in here. Maybe I import it to this planet or something. You know how it is. Put this right over here. Yeah, you are going to bring in energetic graphite, you're going to bring in hydrogen, and you're going to output energy matrices. And we're going to bring in 2,000, 2,000. You know, just bring in 5,000 of both. We don't use it for much else. And supply 5,000. Perfect. Okay, the way I want to do this is kind of like... we'll leave us a bit of room for proliferation, but we're going to kind of do this like we've done all of our 2-in-1-out builds. We're going to put a lab on either side. We're going to have a belt running back in. And we're going to have the inputs coming out on the sides and on the other end. It's just that the labs are a little bit wider, so you can't really use the same blueprint for it. They're 5 wide instead of 3. However, what we can do is use this for a very similar... Yeah, because that can just be... This can just be output 1. Because we could do this for the... Yeah, we could do this for the blue science as well, because it's also 2-in-1-out. I think most of the sciences are 2-in-1-out. Not all, but most. And I think we'll do it 4 along. But I do want space for power towers, so let's leave some room. Alright, I'm going to save this as basic science. You know what? Why don't we just slap down another one of these right where we build the circuits and the coils as well. Where are we building the circuits and the coils? I don't even remember. Not over here, it's not over there. It's not anywhere. Aha, it's over here. Yeah, why don't we just put down a blue science one right over here, because that just requires circuits and coils. Just slap that right over there. And when we get down there, we'll get to it. Okay, so as planned, you're going to bring in energetic graphite and hydrogen, and you're going to output red science. We're going to start demanding both. We are producing the energetic graphite elsewhere, so this is fine. We're going to get you to make red science for me. As soon as we have hydrogen, we will make it there as well. We'll make its way over here, rather. Alright, cool. We are starting to saturate our hydrogen belts there, which means that hydrogen is actually making its way through. Excelente! Look at that. Nice, dude. Okay, cool. That's a pretty big win for us. For reasons which I hope are obvious, because that means we are going to start producing red science, which means we should go down and build our blue science build as well. And then we should pick up more labs, and we should go and build our consumption build, which I like to do on the poles, just because I think it looks cool. Okay, we're going to slap this down right over here, and actually, while that's building, I want to plan up another smaller little build. And this is just going to do one thing and one thing only. It's going to be very simple. This is going to make solar panels. And the reason I'm doing it like this is because I want to be able to access them from anywhere. We're going to make 1,000 solar panels. It's 10, 10, 5. We're going to bring in 10, 10, 5, and that's going to mean 1,000, 1,500. Super, super cheap. Well, actually, no, they're very expensive, but it's because we've got the tidally locked planet. It means we're pretty much guaranteed power all the time. It's not as much power, but it is constant power, which is nice, you know? Versus constant gain, of course. Alright, you're going to make blue sciences. All he is. I like that if you set one thing in the stack, it sets the whole stack. It's a nifty little feature. Yeah, and power looks like it's pretty pressing at the moment, so let's not get distracted for too long doing this, but also it feels necessary. And you know what? Why am I designing this? We literally have the blueprint. We want the 2-in-1-out tower assembly. Oh, it was my mistake. This should be a 3-in-1-out tower, not a 2-in-1-out. Oh well, that's fine. I will just manually add the third one. And we're going to move this down to there. Since we use the circuits the least, it's 10, 10, 5 is the recipe. We'll put the circuits at the back. Now, I like the ratios in this game, because like an inserter that's 2 tiles away moves half as slow as one that's 1 tile away. And so if we put the, and you know, this requires 5 electronic circuits for every 10 silicon, which means that it needs to move half as often. So if you put them in this configuration, you're moving at the exact same rate, which is the rate that is required. It's so elegant, dare I say. All right, lovely. We are making solar panels. Not very quickly, but that's on account of us having no power, which, guess what? That's what the solar panels are for. So why don't we just start slapping them down wherever they'll fit? We'll build like a proper solar farm somewhere, but for now I'm just going to fill every available space with things. Okay, fantastic. We are now at 100% satisfaction. We have about 25% in reserve, which is really cool, but I don't think the I don't think the oil refineries are running, and I only had to fill this amount of space to make up that much power, versus like all of this that wind requires. It is so inefficient to use wind turbines when you have access to solar. And now that we've got silicon, we have access to solar, and that's why I put it on the home planet, because I thought it might speed things up in the early game, and it turns out I was right. Wow, go figure. Okay, I put down a few solar panels, just one or two, really. Don't mind me. We're gonna keep flying away now. Back to hydrogen. Yes, that's right. That's what I was doing. I knew there was something, you see? You see? I knew there was something. Oh, and it looks like we are running out of magnetic coils. Yeah, these machines just cannot keep up. Okay, gotta put down a few more of those, clearly. Let's do that. The big one actually would be to just get the level 2 belt, because that would double our production. And guess what that requires? You bet it. You guessed it. Energy matrix. Okay, cool. Hoo-hoo. Let's go get our science building, consumption building set up. And at least we've got that working, I guess. Also, we are out of belts again. Goddamn. Where do I want the science to be built? Well, is that the South Pole? I think that's the South Pole, right? No, that's the North Pole. Red is North Pole. Okay, cool. We're gonna go build it at the North Pole then, because I'm a masochist. Hello, North Pole. We're going to be visiting you very briefly here. I think I'm going to build this right over here. Lovely. And let's stick down one of these to get that charging. You're going to be bringing in this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this. Lovely. Okay, then... Oh, this beautiful, pristine world is just being shredded by this nonsense. Okay, and then we're going to do it like that, and like that. And we want to set up some labs. Okay, we will eventually have other sciences coming out here, so we might as well get those ready to rock as well. And I'm probably going to want to proliferate all of this too. That's something we should really work on, is proliferators. We're going to be proliferating it at the other end, but I think just to be safe, it doesn't hurt to do it this way either. Okay, and then we begin. You. Ah, right. You can't, with only 3 inputs, you can't do 3 lines. Okay, so we'll have to put that somewhere else then. That's fine, right? That's fine. Or we just put them all on one side. Yeah, that makes more sense. Just put them all on one side. And then whatever output 4 is going to be, I don't know which science we'll get to first, probably purple, will end up down here. So this will be yellow, red, blue, and then purple. So in, and we're just going to set this up ahead of time. So I don't have to think about it. You're going to be researching. And we're going to stick you over there. I'm going to stick you over there. And we're going to stick everybody one more forward. We'll do 12 labs up here for the moment, I think. I'll put you over there. And then power. Okay, very nice. I want to be making X-ray cracking. That's the first thing we want to do, because then we can make pretty much infinite red science. Okay, we're going to have to fly back to the red science build, which is down here. And we're going to have... Man, these trees are sticking out the atmosphere. Are you seeing this? It's crazy. We're going to have to fly down to the red science build, and we're going to have to sort that out next. We need more hydrogen. A lot more. Okay, while we're waiting for the last of the hydrogen to come through, we're going to build out the rest of this structure. It's fairly sizable, as you can tell, but it's going to be the final build. We won't have to do this again, and the point of the series is to do big builds very quickly and not have to do them again. We're probably going to be able to get to the combat part of this by episode 5 or 6 at this rate. I'm feeling pretty happy with that progress. Okay, as soon as we got X-ray cracking, I think we're going to want to start working on high-efficiency logistics, but that's going to require magnetic levitation. We're also going to have to make a build that makes these, and then we can use that to make the better belts right after that. Definitely worth doing. Hey, there we go. Okay, I've been holding off on building this properly because I wanted to have the X-ray cracking blueprints pre-installed, but now if we construct it, boom! Got the X-ray cracking recipe right over there. So let's go ahead and select that for all of these guys. Now, as you will see, like I mentioned, what'll happen is that the refined oil that comes out of the regular process is going to be put in, consumed with a bit of hydrogen in order to produce hydrogen and energetic graphite. You can think of it like we're cracking the oil further. And that's then going to produce everything we need to make a red science. Oh man, I'm happy. I'm a happy man. Okay, let's go ahead and layer all this on. My least favorite thing about this build, if I remember correctly, is that it doesn't tile very well when you want to copy the recipe over. The back one works just fine. It's the front one that gimmicks out. Oh, and I didn't select the damn recipe. Oh boy. Genius, thy name is largely unemployed. Perfect. And then this one won't do it because like one of the inserters, which is definitely there, says it shouldn't be. Make it make sense, game. Okay, then next up we want to bring in the coal from the tower, same as before. Perfect, and now at least the machines can start cracking, getting a little bit of a backlog going, which seems good. I'm just going to build these first ones so they can start building up hydrogen too. Nice, and we have magnetic levitation technology. Not that we have the machines yet, but of course with the towers it is trivial to put down new builds. It's mostly a resource throughput issue at this point. So the electromagnetic turbines require 2 electric motors and 2 coils, meaning that to build one of these, you need 3 of these. So basically, for every one of these builds, you have to build one of these builds, and you have to build one of these builds. For every one of these builds, you have to build one of these builds. For every one of these builds, you have to build 2 of these builds and 2 of these builds. It's a little psychosis-inducing. That's if you want to produce at 6 per second for each. It gets a little mad very quickly. Just fair warning. Nice, we got the next belt level. That's awesome. Let's go ahead and get some other cool stuff set up. Let's get titanium smelting. We've been wanting it. I'm going to get landfill as well because we've been sitting on that for a bit. Let's get proliferators sorted out. I want to get to those next episode for sure. We're going to want processor 2, but that can wait a minute. We don't need deuterium just yet. We don't need graphene. We don't need that just yet. We will want this to duplicate. We can turn oil and coal into more refined oil. Is pretty nifty. It's 1 hydrogen, 1 refined oil, which is the exact output of the base product. You just add 1 piece of coal, and then instead of you can basically destroy the hydrogen and turn it into an extra refined oil, which is super useful. We're definitely going to want more of these, and we're probably going to want to research that as well. Then as for upgrades, or maybe that can wait. As for upgrades, yeah, let's get some better mecha core, better move speed, better inventory. More drones would be good too, I suppose. But no, definitely proliferator first. Definitely proliferator first. Where's proliferator Mark 2? So that's Mark 1. What does Mark 2 require? Is it this? It's this. Okay. In that case, skip this for the moment. We're fine. Skip this for the moment. We're fine. Do that, then do that, then do this, and then do these. Nice, and we are really chowing down on the oil now, and this is a full-size build. And like I said, you'll see that the crude oil is making it all the way to the end and being consumed at about 1 per second. So this is about the maximum size you can support, which is, I think it's 24 of these oil refineries, so that's 12 per side, so 1 yellow belt can support 12 machines. And that's going to give us an almost constant flow of hydrogen and energetic graphene. Oh, and we got to come down a bit. Move over 1. How come that one didn't have to do that? Oh, because this is not aligned. Well, that's a problem we can only kind of really solve right now. Trying to solve it later is gonna cause all kinds of trouble. Because we're gonna get so backed up with stuff. Okay, yeah. Cut all this off. I'm just gonna make this pretty real quick. Give me a second. Yeah, I have some bad news. I built the whole thing skew. Like, the whole thing. So, it's, yeah, this is indeed the center line. Damn it. Okay, I guess I gotta put all that back. I feel like an idiot. I'd have to move all of this, which is just, that's not happening. No amount of aesthetics is worth that much labor. But friends, regrettably, that is all we have time for today. Thank you so much for hanging out. We did a super mega giga chad ultimate, what do you call this stuff? Oil. With oil build. Wow, it's crazy. Oh my god, look at it. It's so large and oily. Wow. So large and just so oily. Thank you all very much for hanging out today. If you liked the video, then, well, you know what to do. Like the video. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. And, of course, a huge thank you to our channel members and patrons for this month. Couch Potato, The Senate, Kelly Ananas, Call Me Bo 82, Riley David, LCG Canyon Sahar, Knee Cruncher, Old Man Tater, Frickin' Friendly Beaver, Not K. Arthur, Cut Beef Go Ham, Jack Smallman, Ribo, Adachi, I'm Alpha, King, Alan O'Sella Hair, Ragnar Skull Crew, Raija, Rob, DePoyo44, Pratham Parush, Sleep Deprived Sam, Badass Beast, Charlie Weber, Mermix, Mo Romans, Officer C4, Yan the Pan, Cairo, Kilithaza, Eve Roxanne, Kodiak, Dimitri Liako, CCMD, Wedgie FRG, Lunar Shots, Darky, Hedrick Ebert, Black Omega 9, The Emperor, Dennis Feros, Big Bird 18th, Josh Thompson, Chad Farista, Mermix42, and Millennium Dawn. You guys all rock.